Welcome to Marth and the Machines. This battle report will feature two old enemies going at it for a rematch, Lady Z and Marshal Bravestar, both with a new army at their back. For scenario we rolled Throwdown, even though it was more a case of Wrath of the Dice Gods. Enjoy! Okay, here's the virtual terrain. The main feature is a very large hill, which has been fortified as a defense position and thus sports a building and trenches. Other than that, we have two forests and a lake. And yes, some might have noticed, this is not flip chart paper taped to a table, it is a Chessex Mondo mat laid out on the floor. Very handy, though I'd love one without any grid. On his end, there were Captain Jeremiah Kraye with a rather small force. He brought a charger, a hunter and a hammersmith. There were also the Black 13th Gunmage strike team, as well as Thor Steinhammer with the Godson Basher. I had Colon Commander Alexandra Zerkova with two bodyguards, a Spriggan and a Man-of-War Dracoon, a min unit of assault commandos, the Great Bears of Gallowswood, and a Colon Lord. He won the roll, so he chose to deploy and go first. Most of his stuff simply advanced as they were out of range in the first turn. Thor prontoed the Basher, moved and tuned him up before the Basher advanced, and Kraye put full tilt on the Hammersmith, which advanced. He was out of range for shooting. In my turn I give one focus to Alexander. The assault commandos advance and shield wall, and Alexander then runs to fill the gap, and the Turnian blizzards. Lady Z advances, casts a cheap watcher and two twisters which deviate to the glass beads positions. I aimed at the Black 13th and the charger. The Dracoon and the Great Bears run. Round 2. First up, Kraye gives 2 focus to the hunter and 3 to the charger, drops full tilt. Then Thor moves, tunes up the Basher's damage, prontos him, and the Basher continues and grand slams the Dracoon straight back off the hill. But he isn't finished there, he follows up until he touches Volkov's base and fires Flagfield, killing Volkov. Yikes! I proceed to forget that the Dracoon would now have had the chance to countercharge the Basher. Lynch launches Fire Beacon at the Spriggan, negating the clouds nearby, but due to really bad dice rolls, only one commando dies from all the firing. The charger's first powerful shot fails to kill an assault commando, the second however leaves a serious hole in Alexander. The hunter shoots at Alexander too, but doesn't deal a lot of damage. The Hammersmith moves, Kraye too, but he is out of range. My turn, no focus is allocated, I upkeep Watcher. The Colon Lord moves and power boosts Alexander. The assault commandos consolidate and shield wall heading for the eastern zone, firing at the Black 13th. One even hits Lynch, but a roll not enough damage. The Grey Lord Turnian moves up and seeing that blizzards aren't all that good here, put the Basher on the rocks. That means they freeze him. The Dracoon runs. Alexander moves and fires his grenades at that pesky Lynch, but doesn't catch him. He, however, hurts Ryan a little. With Lady Zack, I make use of Kraye's large base and launch a lensed Razor Wind at him for 7 damage. I fire another cheap Razor Wind at him, but am just out of range without the lens. A Ghost Stone Twister is placed in the general direction of the Black 13th. And this time I remember it on time and feet. Round 3. The Charger and Hunter were too far away to be affected by Hurricane. Kraye gives 3 focus to the Hammersmith and 1 to the Hunter. Thor engages the Great Bears and misses with his blowtorch. The Hunter moves, fires at Alexander for more damage and then falls back. The Charger moves to flank. The Black 13th back up, as does Kraye after putting full tilt back on the Hammersmith. The Hammersmith then engages my Dracoon, but extremely bad dice prevent him from even unhorsing him. He also triggered Watcher, but Alexander could not reach him. I upkeep Watcher, allocate nothing. In order to prevent the flanking Charger from scooting around and taking the zone, I proceed. Jarowicz breaks away and moves into the zone. Kolsk hacks down Thor. The assault commandos move up, wall and fire at the Black 13th, missing all the way. Dodgy bastards. The Grey Lord Turnian moves and refreezes the Basher. The Colon Lord power boosts Alexander, who moves up and stabs away at the Hammersmith, dealing good damage but leaving enough intact. Lady Z then furthers her plan, casts Force Blast, shoving the Hammersmith away and opening the Dracoon's charge lane on the Charger. Then she fires another Razor Wind through the lens at Kraye and misses. I stop here and hog the remaining focus. Last, the Dracoon charges the Charger and misses. What the hell is wrong with these dice when Mat 8 models cannot be expected to hit a Def 13 model? Round 4. Kraye upkeeps full tilt, and the rest is easily summarized. I lose 3 more commandos and the Kodo Lord to shooting, the Dracoon is unhorsed, Kraye moves so that the Hammersmith is in his control area again and feeds. The Hammersmith is turned around, walks over to the other zone, smacks Jarowicz, who is tough, and controls the zone because Kolks is still outside. He ends his turns, and Kraye wins. Well, loss by scenario. That is an improvement from issue number 1, especially when considering that this matchup and this scenario had me boned from the start. Lady Zed's playstyle somehow makes you bubble up, since all her guards tend to be in her real estate, and Throwdown forces you to split your forces. Certainly one of the most challenging scenarios, especially at 25 points, where the mobility of those stupid light cavalry warjacks really is exacerbated, although those were not the problem. The main problem was the fickleness of the dice, like the Dracoon missing the charger, or Zerkova failing to hit Kraye on a 7, or the assault commando shot not taking out Lynch at power 10 versus arm 11. Or me forgetting that the Dracoon, who was slammed backwards, should have been allowed to countercharge the Basher who had not followed up the whole path. My force was handicapped at any rate, since the crowd control factor of the Greylords never came into play since there was no crowd. Same with the assault commandos. They either couldn't really hit their targets, or when they could, the damage would be insignificant. I say we'll simply up the points to 35 and go for one of the missions we yet have to play once: Break the Line or Killing Fields. And in a best villain's attitude, I'll get you for this, Jeremiah! Until then, farewell.